Hello, we have another barbecue video. We're still in the secret location. Didn't want to come just to make one video. So I've got a bit more of a simple one this time. Just got some nice chicken wings and chicken drumsticks from the local butchers, Eric Lyons. I'm going to be putting some barbecue rub on them and then just cooking them on the barbecue and then dipping them in a nice Stokes barbecue sauce to finish off. You can put them in a hot sauce, a mayo, whatever you feel's best. I'm going to quickly show you how to cook it around the outside of the barbecue. Before we get into it, please like, subscribe and comment. Tell me what your favourite thing is on the barbecue and if you'll be giving this a go. Because chicken wings are also one of them, you can get them too dry. You can put them straight on the middle of the heat and think, oh, they'll be all right, and then you go and eat them and they're terrible. They're almost better in the oven. But if you cook them right on a nice charcoal barbecue around the outside, they'll be better because you've got charcoal, nice smoky flavour, and they cook really succulent. So I did run out of wings when I went to get them because we needed to sell them as well instead of me eating them at the barbecue. So I got some drumsticks. So what I'm going to do, there's six drumsticks in there. They're £3.30 for 6 of them. So about just over 50p each. I think there's a bit more than 6. Just got to label them wrong. And then I put down 4 wings, and they're 32p each, the wings. Lovely, huge, meaty wings. Nice big wings. We'll cut the wing tip off. You got the nice sort of the bit with the double bone in. I always think that's the most succulent. And then the sort of like, it's almost like a drumsticky sort of side. You get pretty good if you snap them in half. You can kind of suck the meat off with the bones still there. And you don't have to fiddle about with all the bones, but I can probably do that at the end of the video. Tell you how to eat the best chicken wing with no hassle quickly. So all that is in my clear plastic bag. I've got my barbecue rub. Don't need a huge amount. Might just use half of this. And the key is to give it a right rumble. Give it a massive sort of, we need a really even coating. Again, if you go into your local butchers, there's no other way to do it apart from plastic unless you did it in sort of an oven dish and mixed it round. So if you can do that, but you can go and ask for one of these plastic bags in the butchers if you want to do it yourself, or if you go in and ask for any sort of rub on your wings, we can do that for you. And I'm sure every other butchers can. Again, a lovely coating on the outside of them. Again, got the charcoal barbecue. It's at a perfect heat now. It's just starting to sort of die down. And I'm going to be whacking all these around the outside. Also, for the sake of the video, I was showing you how to use the rub. I'd recommend doing this in the morning so the marinade really goes into the meat. So the longer you do the marinade, the better. All around the outside, not directly on the heat, because these need to almost be in for 10 minutes. We're going to have to put the lid on to redirect the heat into the centre. We'll just end up with a burnt dry on the outside and then raw in the middle, which would be a disaster. What I'm going to do, so they're all around the outside, they're not directly on the heat. I'm going to put my lid on and leave them for roughly 5 minutes. Another thing to mention, on chicken, something like a chicken wing or a chicken drumstick, I would use a dry rub. Because you don't need to put anything on underneath it, just straight dry rub onto the chicken, it'll grip into the chicken. If you put a wet rub on, because the chicken's almost wet, it won't take to it. So you need sort of a dry rub onto wet produce. Right, I can hear a nice gentle sizzle. They've been about 5 minutes. I think they'll be ready for a little turn. Look at them, beauties. Yeah, the moisture just starting to leak into the charcoal. Got a nice bit of chard on the outside. Maybe a bit too much for some people, but I do like a bit of a char. And again, that's just because, again, there's sugar in the rub. So again, sugar burns, so the further on the outside and the longer you let it cook, the better. Again, if you do this on a gas barbecue, you'll probably have a lot of mess. Because again, once the juice drips into the charcoal, I can just bin that off. With a gas one, you've got to do a lot of cleaning afterwards because the juice will drip in and you'll be ended up with a lot to clean. So Again, they're all flipped nicely. A bit of chard on each of them. They look like they're cooking very well actually. The skin's kind of peeled back on some of them when I've been lifting, and I can see there's white meat underneath. So yeah, let's leave them for another sort of 5 minutes. And again, I haven't brought a temperature probe, so I'm gonna have to sort of judge this correctly myself. We're gonna have to find a little method to see when they're cooked. And it may be pull one of the drumsticks off and have a little cut, and I'll show you how to find out if it's cooked, so if it's not cooked without a probe. Right, so another 5 minutes has passed. Got some nice barbecue on barbecue. We've got a nice barbecue rub on top of a barbecue. So we're gonna have a really nice barbecue flavour of these drumsticks and wings. Again, I can really see them sizzling away, but obviously chicken's very dangerous if you eat it when it's raw. 77 degrees if you've got a probe. Get it right in the middle, right next to the bone, make sure it's 77 degrees. That means it's edible. We haven't got a probe, so we're gonna have to do it by eye. Obviously, it probably sounds quite simple, but we're just going to cut into right into the centre where near the bone is, and you need it to be white all the way through. Any sort of pink, we want to put it back on. And it's going to be very hot, so I'm going to hold it with the pinchers. Sort of just cut to the bone, peel a bit off. Oh. Very, almost sort of, I would say that's safe, to be quite honest with you. Again, I'll leave these on for a smidge longer because I haven't got a probe, so I don't want to risk it. I'm going to give them another 2 minutes, but that is white all the way through. Maybe the smidgest of bit pink, but you almost want to take it off as soon as it's cooked because that keeps the chicken nice and moist. Or if you leave it on when it's already cooked, the longer you leave it on, the drier it gets with chicken. So that's a key tip. Again, we're going to take that off in 2 minutes. We're going to tuck in. I've got a bit of extra barbecue sauce from Stokes. Again, we use a dry rub. This is just a wet dipping sauce. And yeah, lovely little snack. Wish I had a beer, and I wish the sun would properly come out. We could sit down with a lovely backdrop and yeah, enjoy yourself. Right, so a further 2 minutes has passed. Probably sort of 12, 15 minutes altogether. I mean, they're bubbling away. I know that they're cooked now because they were kind of white as soon as I cut into them anyway. I just wanted to give them a bit longer just to be safe. So yeah, they're all cooked. Whack them on a plate, take them to all your friends who are at your sort of party, or if it's just like a family barbecue. But they've got like a really nice sort of dry stickiness to them on the outside, and on the inside they'll be really nice and juicy. And we've got a nice extra dipping sauce for even more flavour with the Stokes barbecue sauce. Again, they've got a wide range of options. I think this is the actual barbecue original. They've got a sweet and sticky, which will go really nice in all of these. So yeah, let's tuck into one of the wings. I probably should wait, even though I'm starving, before I burn my fingers. So let's get into this one. Again, if you've got a knife and you've got younger kids or something, if you cut right down the joint on a chicken wing with a sharp enough knife, you'll just cut straight through it. So you can kind of have easier to eat, because wings are all hard work. Where I've just cut straight down the middle of that. The smaller side has 2 bones, the bigger side has 1. So you can eat round that one. And on this one of the bones just slots out nicely. There we are. Slotted that bone out, so then you've got 1 bone to eat round, hardly any mess, and it's just easier to eat than trying to, you know, when you leave so much meat on a wing, eating round it. I've eaten enough in my time to know a good technique, so I thought I'd share that with you. It might not be any help, but yeah, sort of tuck in. I'm going to put a bit of extra sauce out there. Oh, and on the floor, it's not very good. But yeah, tuck into them. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but it's much better than Nando's. Like, subscribe, and get cooking. See you soon.